Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Disito, and you're tuned into a safe space where we have hard conversations on life, love, and all things healing. If you're tuning in for the first time, welcome, darling. I know you're going to love this place. So around here, I heal out loud so that you can give yourself permission to do the same. Today, we're talking about a topic that's really close to my heart, and unfortunately also close to the hearts of those who have experienced challenging relationships, and that is future faking. If you've ever stayed in a toxic or unhealthy relationship because of promises that were unmet, or even because you had the hope that things would get better, then this video is for you. So some of you guys might be asking yourself, what is this future faking thing that you're talking about? So let me quickly define what it is, and let's get into the video. I'll talk about my experience, and I'll also talk about how I managed to, or I'm managing now to get myself out of that and not to pull myself back into that rut, right? So future faking is if you're with somebody who makes big promises about your future together. You're in a relationship with this person, and they constantly make mention of how life will be with how life will be in the future for you guys, whether it being you guys building a family together, building a business, a legacy together, just making it look like you and this person are meant to be, and you're going to have a perfect future together. But these things don't really materialize, or they just do enough to make you believe that they're building towards these promises that they have made towards you. And in the moment, it sparks up some kind of hope, some kind of excitement that this is actually the person I've been praying about. This is the person that I need. You know, you start to see yourself in a different way. You start to see yourself as the person's wife. If you're not married already to the person, you start seeing little kids running around because this person has painted a picture of how his world is nothing without you, right? And it feels like he just gets it. He gets where you want to go, and you cannot imagine, having this future with anybody else but him or her, right? And in the case of you being married to this person, they will make these promises to you, even go to the extent of actually showing you that they can be this person. They can be this person to your children, that they can do the minute tasks that you used to ask them for, and that they can go over and above. They can be attentive and pay attention to when you have a new hairstyle, that they can give account about where they are. And this can happen for a short period of time, or it can be prolonged for about 6 months or so, enough for you to get to a place where you can trust them again, right? And it feels like at some point they get it, and they're doing their best to change their ways. So it fuels your hope even more to say, this is where I'm supposed to be. We're nearing to the future that he's always spoken about. We're going to dream. The dreams that we had together are finally going to come true, because you're seeing these sudden changes and these efforts that are being put in, right? And then things become to change, or things begin to change when you're now taking the bait. And that's where the danger is. Over time, it feels like all these promises were nothing but words, and you're still waiting. Years go by, and there's still no tangible change, and you're still going around the circle of broken promises and sorries and acting right, and then breaking the promises again. Then it's an endless cycle of fueling hope, being disappointed, fueling hope, being disappointed. And that's a really sad place to be. Also, another part I want to talk about in this video, leaving is like the hardest part of this whole thing. Not because you don't see the red flags, not because you can see that this person might be toying around with me, what am I still doing here, but because they're sprinkling just enough effort to keep you around. They're saying just enough for you to stay hoping that they'll completely change. I'll give you a quick example of how this future faking usually works. This is not always how it works, but usually this is how it is. So maybe finally they kept the promise, one of the promises that they had made towards you 6 months ago, right? Something as small as taking out the trash can, or something as small as you ask them, I need you to call me when you're out. Let me know what you're doing. I need you to keep me at bay. And maybe they begin to do that, or buying you flowers, or thinking about you when they go into a grocery shop and then they get you your favorite sweet, something that you actually have mentioned and spoke to them about, to say, this is what I expect, this is what I want, or a promise that they made to you. Maybe they bought you a new phone because they say they're going to buy you a new phone, right? And finally showing you the affection that you've always been longing for. And it's just enough to make you think, maybe they are turning around. Just maybe this time it will be different. And funny enough, every time you go through the circle, go around the cycle, you always think, maybe this time will be different. Maybe this time it will be, the turning point for us. I mean, he's acting right. And then he does something that hurts you to the core. And then you're like, but maybe not. Then he comes back to make it right again with something, with a word, with an action. And you're like, this time he's gonna get it right. And lo and behold, years go by and you're still there, and you still haven't left, right? You haven't broke that relationship, that engagement. You're still going around the same circles. And the danger with such people is that they never really come out and take account or accountability fully for the things they've done, and which makes it even hard for you to even try to communicate with these kind of people, right? And I'm not talking about a person who's truly and genuinely remorseful, and who has truly repented, and who has the fruit. And I'm going to talk about that a bit later, right? But I think by now we get the gist of what future faking looks like and how a person might receive it. Just to mention, before I go into my vulnerability story, is that when they sense that you may be ready to leave, that you are at a point where you really can't anymore, and you want this relationship to end, then they double down, and they double down on their charm. Literally, they double down on their charm, and it's words that come out like, oh, I don't know what's getting into me. I need to make this right. But remember, you could see that I have the potential to do right by you. I did X, Y, Z. I bought you a phone. Did I not say I'm going to buy you a phone? Baby, I bought you a phone. You see, I can act right. I just need you to give me time. I just need us to work through this together. And they lure you in, they lay you back into this thing, and they tell you stuff like, don't give up on me, and lure you back into this thing. And those moments are the ones that seal you back into the cycle again, and they feel so real and so genuine. And again, what does it do? It feels and fuels your hope bag again. Now your hope is like out there, and it clouds every other judgment that you would ever have about this person. Now, for me, I went back multiple times. I went back a lot of times. I left and I came back a lot of times, right? And at some point, I convinced myself that he was doing all the things that he was doing because he was broken. And sometimes I even felt like maybe it's because I was not doing things right. So I made it a mission every time I came back that I will try, and act in a way that is more loving, more caring, so that he can see that I have changed, and hoping that that will change him, right? And I was in this constant loop of compassion because of his brokenness, or what I thought was his brokenness, and this loop of constant jumping into this cycle of trauma bonding. So I'm like compassionate on the other side, and on the other side I'm like trapped by these highs and the lows that have been happening. One minute it's these highs, and then it's these lows, and when I'm experiencing the lows, I want to pull myself back out of that rut to think about, the highs, the things that fuel up my hope, even to a point where I'm just like, maybe this is a spiritual attack, because if I can see that this person can do this, then it means there's literally something, that is fighting him not to actually be consistently acting right towards me and us, right? So then you begin entering into spiritual warfare, and not necessarily because the Lord said do it, but because now you are beginning to be afraid. Fear is now kicking in. Fear is now telling you, let's act right quickly so that we get out of the lows, so that he can come back with the highs again, because we need something else also to happen to convince us that we need to stay, and we're staying for the right reasons. Anyway, so I convinced myself that if I could just love him enough the way he says he needs to be loved, if I prayed hard enough, and maybe things would change. And but as years go by, I started ruminating. Ruminating is when you're constantly replaying events, same-ish situations, events, and over and over again, like a broken record. And I kept turning everything over in my head, trying to make sense of the things that he's doing, that his actions, his promises, the pain, the good things, the bad things. And that caused me to come to a place where I was genuinely depressed, because my mind couldn't fathom couldn't put together the pain, and then the good times. And what hope does is that even if in the period of 3 years nothing good ever comes out of this person, but that one time, because we are afraid of experiencing pain, nobody just wants to be in pain. Because you're afraid of experiencing pain, you will hold on to what that person did 10 years ago that made you feel good, and you will spend your whole life seeking to experience that goodness again, even in its absence. Everything that you do, even if the person hits you with a hammer, you're like, but that one day he took me to Mauritius. That one day he stayed with the child when she was sick and I had to go to a conference, So that's what hope does. And hope is a beautiful thing. Look, I was like, I remember I made it a thing, and I'm like, I'm holding on to hope. And it's a good thing to have faith, but it is also very important to be able to discern. Get yourself out of your feelings and stay with the Lord, because he's actually the only one who will tell you whether, you're discerning right or this is your emotions, So sit with the Lord enough for you to be like, to make a good judgment. Anyway, I'm not concluding. Okay, I don't want to finish like this, so let's continue quickly. To go back a little, for those who don't know what trauma bonding is, it's when you feel emotionally attached to someone, and this is usually caused by the highs and the lows that happen. It's like you get addicted to experiencing these highs and these lows, and most of the times we see it in movies where this big breakup can happen, and then this beautiful thing that brings them together happens, and it's like next thing you feel like, oh my gosh, on top of the world, I'm in love again with this person. What would I do without this person? Then they disappoint you again, and they come back and they make you feel like you're on top of the world again. So it's like this seesaw that happens, and you get addicted to the feeling, and you every time a pain happens, you are quick to even try and forget what the person is saying, so that you can go back quickly to this excited feeling that you have when the highs are high, right? When I finally broke out of this cycle, when I left, I started to realize, as time went by, that damn, I have been lying to myself for so long. I couldn't believe, and I was so shocked at how blind I had been towards certain situations that were blatantly before me and that could have made me leave a long time ago, because I believed that I was building a future with this person, that I believed that I loved this person, and I couldn't wait to see the end of the things that we were dreaming about. One of the things that I always would say, and I'm like, we cannot go through all the things we're going through and not see the light at the end of the tunnel. I was so focused on reaching the end of the tunnel, even if it meant I get there without feet or eyes. I was just like, we're going there. But then in hindsight, I look back and I'm just like, damn, why were you so blind to what was happening? Even in a recent conversation I had with the person, there's something that he said that made me realize that, damn, I should have left a long time ago. Or he actually said that I wanted to leave you a long time ago. And when I then started to think about the things that he was saying, I'm like, it made sense, because the period between then and when I actually left, the flags were there, flagging. But I thought, marriage is from the Lord. We need to fight for our marriage. We need to, but anyway, we're not there, right? We're talking future faking. And so when I went back, my friends and my family were so shocked. They were so disappointed. And these were people who've seen, the other side, that the lows, and they've heard me cry. They've seen me at my lowest, at my worst. They were like, what is this woman doing? And I could see some of the pain from my friends and my family. And honestly, I couldn't blame them. If I look back and I'm just like, and my friend was going through that, my daughter was going through that, I would also be a bit disappointed and concerned too. Why do you keep doing that to yourself? But I think in me, I was chasing this hope, unhealthy hope, And you know what? I convinced myself, like I said, that this was a spiritual attack, and no one understands. They don't understand. Everybody's against this work of the Lord that God is doing. I just need to fight. And I thought leaving meant that I was giving up on a battle that I should have won. And specifically because I know one of the callings I have over my life regarding, breaking chains of, unhealthy marriages, toxic, having that knowledge. I'm like, I can't lose this battle, because it's closely tied to the deliverance that I know I'm supposed to be bringing in marriages. And later, I realized that the real battle was within me. I was battling with myself, and I needed to learn to love myself enough so that I can fully leave, right? What they don't tell you about leaving is, and this is also in the context of just from being in a long-term relationship with somebody, what they don't tell you about is that it's not about just packing your bags and leaving a location, but it's about grieving the future that you once dreamt about. It's about grieving the relationship itself, and that takes time. I remember I always say that I robbed myself of grieving my dad. And when I got divorced, I realized I can't do that. I can't use the same method of healing with this one. I need to grieve. I need to go through it. I need to grieve that marriage. I need to go back to it again and again and again and be like, whoa, how did I get there? Until I'm at a place where I'm like, okay, this is not a future that I'm going to have anymore. And I think I'm strong enough to start building towards a future that would be more beneficial for myself, and now with kids, a future that's beneficial for them too. Also, one of the things that I'm learning is that, unlearning is believing a person's potential, a person's potential over and above the actions, because sometimes you get so fixated on what this person or who this person can become, and you try so hard with your actions to push them towards this person. But if that's not where they want to go and they're not ready to become that person, you are constantly going to be breaking yourself and hurting yourself in the process. And the best thing that you can do for yourself is to believe their actions. And that's a lesson that I had to learn again, even after my divorce, to learn again that actions do actually speak louder than a person's potential. So to anyone watching and who's healing from this future faking thing, I just want to tell you these 3 things. 1, you don't owe anyone an explanation for your healing process. Honestly, whether you stay, whether you leave, whether you go back, it's your journey, and you don't owe anybody an explanation, and that's the truth of it. And I had to learn that, because that feels shame. It feels a lot of shame, and it clouds a lot of the reasons why you're doing you're deciding to do what you want to do, whether you're leaving, you're staying, or you're going back, whatever. And no one can truly understand the reason why you decide to do what you do but yourself and God. So the biggest thing I can give you, or advice I can give you, is get to a place where it's just your voice and God's voice and nobody else's, and make a decision from that place. Number 2, shame has no place in healing. It delays healing. You're not defined by the number of times you've gone back. You're not defined by the number of times you've left. You're not even defined by the number of times you've decided, look, this is not for me, I'm never coming back. We don't want you to be hardened in any way. So don't shame yourself at all. Don't shame yourself. Give yourself time and go through whatever feels right at that point, but also have wise counsel around you, and be teachable enough to listen to those who've gone before you as well, right? Also going back to the first point, that God should be the ultimate voice that you listen to, right? And the 3rd one is, it's okay to leave even if it's okay to leave even if you're scared of the unknown, because that's what keeps us there, right? And also, I just want to add a 4th one that I didn't write here, but it's okay also to stay. Honestly, it's okay also to stay. But if I was to tell a young person who about this, or warn them before they go into this, I'll tell them that you have to see the fruits first before you actually decide to go back and stay. And when I speak fruits, I'm not talking it's lip service. I'm not talking gestures. Oh, we're going on dates again. That's fine. Do all of that, but see the fruits. And when I'm speaking fruits, I'm speaking from a Christian perspective, that now this person is serious about repenting, and in their repentance they are going back to God. And this is not an act. This is not something they are doing so that they can show you that they are coming back, but they are doing it so that they can please God, and God can be the one that rectifies their error, so that when they come back to you, they are somewhat whole. Because wholeness takes a while, right? So they come back to you as a whole person with fruits of a relationship with God. Fruits of a relationship with God cannot be faked. And you cannot rush into it, because there's no way a man who's not tight with God can handle my emotions and can wipe away my past experiences with the very person. So he has to show fruits. There should be fruits, and these fruits should also show up when he's not with you in his private life. These fruits should be evident even when the people that know you are not around. These fruits should be evident even in your knowing and in your discernment. And that's the only time I would suggest a younger version of me would go back. Wait it out. If really this is for the long haul, wait it out. Wait the process out. Let him go through whatever he's going through. Let him fix his life. Let him fix his eyes and his gaze on the Lord. And when the fruits are there, then I can sit under the tree. Then I can enjoy the fruits. But before then, I'm not going there. If you're going through this whole thing right now, I just want to say I see you. I understand where you are. And I know it's hard, but I know that you are stronger than you think you are. And make the Lord your best friend in this season. Make the Lord your voice of reason, and try to eliminate a lot of what other people are saying, and try to eliminate a lot of voices, and just narrow it down to the voice of the Lord, the Bible, and be sober-minded in the decision that you want to make. God honors your decision. And I think that's one thing that we need to know. If you are indecisive, then it's like you're not giving God something to work with. So be decisive, but be sure that the decision that you're making is aligned with what He wants for you. And also wait the fruits out. In any decision that you want to make, that you want to stay, you want to leave, you want to go back, wait the fruits out and let that be an indicator of what you actually need to do. My name is Discernment, and thank you for watching.